Greetings, this is Andrew Skeggs in the Newswest Studio, and I'm here with our former conference president, Glenn Townend. Glenn, it's great to have you here in this studio that you dreamed about, now it's a reality.
Yeah, I tell you, it's so good to see what has been done and the progression in the media team, and having a stable studio, fantastic.
Yeah, and what's it like being back in WA after 18 months?
Oh, it's kind of surreal. I feel at home, but I know it's not home. So I felt really good at camp, seeing so many people I knew and a lot of people coming up was really nice.
Great. And for those that don't remember, where are you now? What are you doing?
I'm based in Suva in Fiji, and that's the headquarters for the Trans-Pacific Union Mission. And that mission covers from American Samoa to Solomon Islands, so that's from east to west, and from Kiribati in the north above the equator to Tonga in the south, and everything in between, 11 countries.
Okay.
So yeah, I oversee the work of the church there, and it's really exciting.
Fantastic. Now that would include Vanuatu. What's been happening in Vanuatu in recent times?
Oh, incredible stories. About 18 months ago, they chose to have a big evangelistic program, and they chose a venue in Port Vila called Freshwater Oval. Now, other churches, denominations had used it, and the most people they'd get was about 50.
Oh.
And so two churches decided to walk around the Oval and prayer walk for a year. So one would go at Wednesday lunchtimes and walk around the Oval and pray that God would do something. And the other church was Friday night, opening Sabbath, and they would walk around the Oval and pray that God would do something special there. Did a lot of good planning, and then when the meeting started, they started with 2,000 people. 2,000? Yeah. Wow. And so they thought, that's pretty good. They were excited. But the meetings built. Night after night, between 500 and another 1,000 people came. Now, when you think about it, Port Vila has 45,000 people. By the end of it, there were 10,000 people at the Oval, but they had Hope Channel Live on television, Hope Channel Live radio, and they had live streaming as well, and then they had downlink sites in other parts of Port Vila. So they absolutely saturated Port Vila with our health message and then with our beliefs. Dr. Chester Kuma did health, and Pastor Jean-Noel Adeline did the evangelistic program. Wow. They had a kids program as well, and they started with about 200 kids in a tent, and it expanded to 1,000. Oh my goodness. So it was just kind of amazing. But what brought about the power was also not just the prayer beforehand, but every morning they would have revival meetings in the big church in town. And at 5 o'clock, the place was packed with over 1,000 people there for prayer and praise. And talking to the people, they said, we have never felt the presence and power of God like we did in those prayer times. So God did something really special. When they made calls, lots of people responded, and then on the Sabbath they had a baptism. Now they started baptising at 11:30. By 1:30 the pastors were cold and tired, and so they stopped for lunch, and then they started again at 3:30 and baptised through till sunset, and there were still more people there for baptism. So how many were baptised? Well, usually Vanuatu baptises about 600 for the whole of the mission every year. Yeah. And then, so Sunday mornings, some more came, and in one weekend they baptised 2,209 just in Port Vila. Fantastic. And then in December they baptised another 500 and something, and so all over Vanuatu, record-breaking, 6 times the normal baptisms, about 3,600. That is really exciting. Oh, revival, evangelistic focus. You go there, you sense God is really doing something. Good. Now, of course, Vanuatu's been in the news recently for other reasons, some challenges. How has that affected things? Oh, wow. Devastating. Port Vila itself suffered from Cyclone Pam. But the buildings there are pretty solid, church buildings, schools, conference, mission office, and all of that. So yeah, damage, but not too bad. But the rest of Whāti Island, most of the churches just wiped out. I think there's one other that's standing. In Tanna, they've got about 20 churches, 17 of them completely wiped out. And then all the other smaller islands, yeah. So totally 53 churches, buildings, just not there anymore. Or just a skeleton.
Yeah, amazing.
So, yeah, devastation, you know, 270 kilometre winds and that. In some parts where I've been, I haven't gone back, but I've seen the pictures, you know, where there was complete rainforest, all the big trees are just over. There is not a leaf on any tree, and everything's just completely destroyed, and villages completely wiped out. We go to that, there's seven schools, Adventist schools, hardly anything there. Over 20 pastors, homeless, 100 teachers. So yeah,
big needs.
It's you just look at the pictures and your heart just kind of goes, oh wow, how did they survive, and you know how are they coping? But glad to say that the church is pulled together on the ground and are supporting each other. And ADRA has been absolutely fantastic. And church members are voluntarily helping ADRA. So it's really, really good. ADRA's brought in tarpaulins, water, sanitation, and now they're working. The next phase, which we're just starting to work on, is long-term. How do we redevelop?
Yeah.
The crisis is almost over, but it will go on for ages.
So could people here in Australia help donate? You know, I know there's ADRA's working in the community, but obviously there's needs with the churches and the schools.
Look, many people have donated to ADRA, and thank you, because you know ADRA does a marvellous job. What ADRA cannot do is help rebuild the churches.
Yep.
And so we are appealing for people to help rebuild the churches, fly-in builds, donations. And yeah, unfortunately that's not tax deductible. But if you want to give to schools and rebuild, yes, that is. And also to ADRA. But yeah, or even just being on the campground here in Western Australia, I have been given thousands of dollars.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
For the churches,
yeah.
And to just bless the people in re-establishing their lives. Because if they can get back at church, church is kind of like the centre of life, and then school as well. It will help really get them going. Because gardens are going to take a while to come back. Whole copra plantations, which is a big income, wiped out.
Okay.
So it's going to take years, but I can sense that the church all around the division and all around the world are willing to help, and that's so good.
Well, thanks for telling us about what God's been doing in Vanuatu, and yeah, I'm sure that some of our viewers will want to contribute towards that, and if we have donations sent into the conference office, we'll make sure that we send them on to you. So all the best for your work there, Glenn.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.